I'm fully back in training again, I'm teaching my students again, and I'm also fighting myself again, so I can kick to the head anytime. And that already adds a great deal to my quality of life. My name is Michael, I'm 61, and I work as a geriatric nurse. 6 years ago, I came across the Liebscher and Bracht therapy for my wrists. My wrists and finger joints had become useless. Basically, all the joints had slipped into each other, completely out of alignment. You could see the thickening where the inflammations were all through it, and I then decided to do the karate instructor training in Frankfurt to be able to train other people, teach them so they can demonstrate it. And I just told them what to do now because I couldn't use my hands anymore. And we actually had this Kung Fu guy lined up. He was supposed to help us see beyond our little world, but he didn't show up. Instead, a physiotherapist actually showed up. He'd showed us the Liebscher and Bracht method. And he didn't show it on me, but on a woman who'd had a motorcycle accident 5 years earlier and was still suffering from the effects. She still used a 3-legged cane.
She definitely needed that walking aid. It was essential for her mobility.
And he said he didn't know if he could help her, but he'd like to try. Then he treated her for 20 minutes, and afterwards she was able to get up completely without having to use her cane. And she's back to training now. She went and promptly managed to find a therapist in Munich. That's where she comes from. And she's back to training with the team as normal now.
Yeah, amazing.
And I know this woman personally, so it wasn't fake or anything. No, I know her, and she was genuinely in a lot of pain. And for the seminar, she didn't feel any pain anymore. So I asked him if he could take a look at my hands. He said he didn't have time, but shortly after that, he actually sent me a number of YouTube links showing Roland doing wrist exercises. I couldn't see how wrist exercises related to the fingers. So I did them, and I even wrote down that it should get quite a bit better within about 3 weeks. So I already had an appointment to have my finger joints replaced.
Really?
Yeah, they were bent sideways.
Do you happen to have any pictures of it by any chance, perhaps?
Not really, only the x-rays. I'll see if my doctor has them.
Say that again. Right, you were.
They were slightly slanted to one side, not straight.
They wanted to do that to you?
Because of the severe wear. They wanted to put in new replacement joints.
And then you just thought, well, I'll give it a try somehow now.
I figured, well, I've got the surgery date and it can't get any worse, so I might as well go through with it. 3 weeks later, I felt like someone had pinched my fingers, and then they slid back, bit by bit, into the normal position. And they've stayed like that ever since.
I'm just looking at your hands here right now because they look totally normal to me.
They are, apart from these surgery scars right here.
Are you still in pain?
A bit in my left thumb, but that's because there was an infected wound here, so it still feels a little tender and sore every now and then. And the nerve's a bit damaged there.
That exercise you did back then, do you still do it even now these days?
I still do that today.
Regularly?
Regularly. Every weekend, definitely. I walk my dog, and there's this spot with a really lovely wooden table. And that's where I do the exercise.
And work?
Work? No problem.
Unbelievable.
Training, work, everything back to normal.
Your story is really hitting me hard and deep in the chest right now, truly.
Yeah, that was pretty drastic after all. My wife could hardly believe it when I said, just look at my hands, they're straight again. My doctor is surprised every single time too. Look at my hands.
Did he ever ask you what you did? Nope, he never did.
He just asks, need Diclo again? I say, nope, I don't. I can just hand over my medical history and it's got loads of painkillers in it. I told myself I didn't want that. I get rid of the pain in my hands and knees, but I've got some for that in my stomach because Diclo isn't nice.
Yeah, no, it's really not nice. And above all, Diclo doesn't take the pain away, it just masks it. You really have to say it in those blunt terms, at least in my opinion, because they're not fixing the cause. They're just treating the symptoms, basically covering things up instead of actually tackling the real root of the problem, leaving the true problem untouched. And what you just did just a moment ago.
You just think I also had really bad back pain, like snake venom injected into my back afterward. So basically start with Diclo for the pain, then Autoton to help you unwind a little more. Then you're fine for about 6 weeks or maybe 6 months, and then it comes back once more afterwards. Since I started the exercises, it hasn't come back.
Okay, that was your very first ever encounter with the Liebscher Bracht method.
Exactly, and then I completed the training, but mainly for the local sports club back in my hometown. I thought all my students were older. The oldest is 69, does karate and has constant back pain. Poor guy, it's hard for him. And I thought I could use that to help him. And in elder care, I mainly use it to relieve older people's back pain. If you have pain, please tell me so I can try to help you out.
You show them some exercises.
Right?
Do you think they'll go for it?
I'm trying to explain it to them. Some have dementia. It's difficult.
Yeah, all right, I believe you.
But when I tell them I'll help if they're in pain, then they know me and they trust me, and that's why.
They're probably really grateful. If you've also got that bit of trust up front, they'll believe what you say and act on it without questioning or doubting you at all. And then they do the exercises, join in and see, yeah.
Otherwise it wouldn't work. I'm on the night shift, so I've got a bit more time.
You do night shift? How long have you been doing that?
11 years.
Phew. How do you feel about it? Good.
I'll sleep until 1 and then I'm off to the gym.
When do you go to bed?
7 in the morning.
You sleep 6 hours?
Yeah, that's enough.
I gotta say, you're 61. And still out there working as a caregiver full-time every single day, honestly and tirelessly. I really love that too. Because a lot of people say they just can't do it anymore, to be honest.
But you are already well into the routine. I'm trying to actively encourage my colleagues to do the exercises too. Hardly anyone goes for it. The only person who did keeps coming back asking, I've got back pain, can you do it again? She asks me to run through the same exercises whenever it flares. When I've got back pain, I do my exercises and then go to work the next day as if nothing happened. And while I've been in this home, I was off sick one day. I was signed off once, and it definitely wasn't because of back pain.
Really? How long have you been in the retire home?
So I've been there 3 years.
Honestly, I really have to say, well, hats off to you, truly.
I actually enjoy working with the elderly. I might have certain health drawbacks, but when I notice that I have back pain every now and then, I used to take a lot of painkillers, and at some point I told myself there absolutely had to be another way forward for me. And because of that, things with my hands already, that's when I decided to do the training course.
Since then, you've been regularly doing exercises for your back, because in nursing care, back pain pretty much always goes hand in hand.
Exactly. I don't have any back pain. I really don't have those pains right now, honestly. Maybe sometimes. My thigh, I tensed otherwise.
So 6 years ago, we had hand and back pain off and on, did some training. And what happened next?
That was just recently. Then I suddenly remembered I need to renew my driver's license. At least I thought so. But it's not true. At 65, you get some years leeway. But I phoned the registration office and they told me, yeah, you're over 60 now, so they'd need you to have an eye test done as soon as possible. And then I thought, well, I'll just pop into the optician, do the eye test quickly. I can see fine, it's no problem. I could already tell something wasn't right because with my left eye I could read the top line and then that was pretty much it. I couldn't read anything at all with my right eye. I only guessed the very first symbol there. Then they put me in front of one of those computer screens that was measuring something. And then they said, yeah, we've got 75% vision in one eye and only 25% in the other one.
And you didn't really notice it? I didn't notice it at all. It's like everything. When it happens bit by bit, you don't notice once you're used to it.
Exactly then. I was absolutely shocked and immediately began thinking about what to do next. Yeah, I opened the app and that Wednesday Roland was there with Kiefer and Ogden.
Like it was meant to be, right?
I did the pain training and my eyes were always like that. I always assumed Roland works on muscles and fascia and that the eyes have something similar going on structurally as well. So he probably included them for completeness. I thought to myself, it couldn't make things any worse. My appointment for the glasses is in 3 days. Yeah, I did the exercise then, for 3 days, the eye exercise. On the first day, honestly, I couldn't see at all. After that, it felt like everything suddenly became much brighter and clearer. Everything suddenly became blinding and I couldn't see properly. But that eased up after about half an hour, and I stuck with it and said, I'm going to keep doing this until Wednesday. If only about 25% come out, that might already be perfectly enough. Yeah, sure.
Then you just said 3 days.
More like 3 days straight. I haven't really noticed much from that either. So I was sitting there at the eye doctor, and he rolled out that big old chart. Then he ran the test 3 times. Then I had to look into that vision machine again. Suddenly I could read everything again down to the bottom. He said he'd like to prescribe glasses, but I have 125% in both eyes, which surprised both of us. And since then, I do the eye exercise at least 3 times a week because that's the same values I had 10 years ago.
Yeah. Did you notice any change in your eyesight? Definitely.
I can see things in 3 dimensions again. I really noticed that difference. Everything had kind of become much flatter.
You might think it was just a measurement error, but that still doesn't explain what actually happened.
Yeah, okay, the Lady did it twice. The first time he gave me a half-hour break, saying maybe it was from the sun, my eyes were stressed, and then proceeded to do it again immediately, right away, and without warning. But the results were always the same, and the friendly man from Augenor measured them 3 times and told me glasses. I honestly definitely don't need them, but I was terribly surprised when he said, yeah, there's nothing at all. Everything's exactly as it should be, and he'd never seen a 60-year-old at 125% in his life.
That's an amazing result. I'm a bit stunned right now, mostly because I know how effective the exercises are and what they can realistically achieve in real life. I absolutely know that. I'm not an eye doctor, so when it comes to eyes, I'm generally pretty cautious and usually tend to err on the safe side most of the time. It was the same for me. But did you know that, the eye sits surrounded and supported by muscles and connective fascia, just like everything else in the body.
But you can't really picture it. They're such tiny little muscles. Yeah, well, Roland explains it, that they gradually stiffen over time and then pull the eyeball out of shape. But I could never really picture it being that drastic.
So I'm also, for now. So I'm astonished, and I think it's wonderful. Wonderful for you, definitely. I still have this little question mark, though, whether she might have mismeasured herself, but if she checked it thoroughly and made sure and verified it properly already, then I'll accept that. And you really did see it differently afterwards, too.
I still see differently now. I can see in 3 dimensions again. When I look up at the sky, I can tell whether a cloud is in front of the cloud bank or behind it.
You didn't have that before, like before the exercise?
I hadn't noticed I didn't have that anymore. I realized, well, I can't read as well as I used to.
Exactly, that's really important. You noticed that? I certainly did.
But I bought cheap glasses at the supermarket.
So you did get yourself some help. Like one of those cheap little reading aids you can buy easily in regular stores for everyday convenience.
And at first it worked with 1 diopter, then with 2. In the end, I ultimately ended up at 2.5 diopters overall.
That's already quite a lot.
I said I'm old, and then that simply happens.
And now you don't need reading glasses either? No.
Yeah, I was completely shocked by that entire situation, honestly.
Yeah, you can tell I was fascinated by it.
I told my wife, and she was like, you can't possibly go through with that. I said, just go take a look.
I'm really fascinated. Positively shocked to some extent. Can you do karate again now, or is it more like, well, sort of, yeah?
I'm back in full training. I'm teaching my students again, and I'm personally fighting again myself as well, actively now. And the year after that thing with my hands, when they straightened out again, I actually took my 3rd knockdown in competition, just to check if everything truly was back the way it should be, and it is indeed back the way it should be. So my body is definitely a lot younger than
70. How old do you feel now?
Honestly, I feel at most 40. I can still kick my leg up to my head anytime, and that's something pretty impressive, really.
Quality of life. How often do you do the exercise for back pain?
I pretty much do them twice a week with my karate people. After all, I really do have to lead them each time.
You're so scheduled in how you do things, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I have to. If I sleep little and still want any kind of life and to function, everything's got to be tightly scheduled every single day. I train on Wednesdays and Thursdays. With the kids, I always stick to the easier exercises. There we mostly focus on stretching the muscles at the back and the muscles at the front of the legs quite thoroughly and carefully. They're flexible, so I don't worry about them.
Well, if they're already starting with that now, that's excellent. Then they'll never have to feel pain later when they experience it on their own bodies. And above all,
You actually become more flexible.
felt it? Yes, I did. A story like that, what you told using both your hands and your eyes, I've never heard put that way. I've never seen it expressed so vividly or combined quite like that.
I'd prefer that. You have your program, the one you do at home daily, right? Yes. Yeah? What's the program like? Which exercise is the first you do? The very first one?
The first one I do is usually with my hands mostly.
Yeah, okay. You've got your hands on the table?
I think you did, didn't you? Yeah, exactly.
Come on, show me what you're doing.
I'll take the right one first. So I push my hands back.
Very good.
I'll be using my thumb for this.
Yeah, exactly. Then you can use your other hand to help pull it in a little closer. Yeah. The closer you get, the better.
Yeah, then I push my shoulder back like this. Always keep a steady, gentle contact right here. Exactly like that. Just a bit.
Right? So you have to build up a lot of axial force. So you're basically pushing down with your shoulder. And when you push down, you go backwards. Then you'll notice if you rest your weight here, you've got about 20% more.
Yeah, okay. and then I go as far as the garden, and it's actually really nice right here.
Okay, so what's your routine now? You do the one where you first stretch in passively and then kind of push yourself a few times into the splits.
Exactly. Then I push against it, relax, and then move a little bit further back with each repetition.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I do that 3 times in a row. And then
What do you mean by 3 times? The tensing.
tense 3 times, relax 3 times. Then I'll take my hand away and try to pull it in as far as I can, reaching and stretching it as much as possible without causing any pain or forcing it. Right, yeah.
That's wonderful.
The next exercise is with the thumb turned inward.
Thumb inward. Very good. And place something beneath you.
Then
So you can chime in now too.
do go ahead and put a smile on it. And then
Hold the bundle firmly, straighten your elbows.
exactly. Then I press straight down right there. And then I hold it there for just a little while longer. It depends on the day, sometimes. Cold.
Warm, stressed, relaxed.
Sometimes the muscles aren't as pliable as they should be. And then I can tell. If the pain eases despite the pressure, I do it just like with the other exercise. That means I push back by tensing.
And you want to open your fingers, right?
I want to open my fingers. And then I firmly tense up against it. And then once I've done that, I loosen up again and go down a little bit deeper. That doesn't work for me at the moment because I'm rather stiff.
But it's already pretty good. Looks pretty good. From that angle, it's good.
Practice makes perfect, and then do it actively again. I keep my hand like this and try to pull it up onto it, keeping a steady motion and deliberate control each time. Exactly. It always looks a little bit odd, doesn't it now?
I can also give you an additional exercise for the thumb.
Definitely.
All right, listen. Put your hand like this, like straight up, basically, yeah. Thumb goes in. Close your hand again, then pull your wrist down toward the floor. You'll feel a deeper, noticeable stretch right about here in your forearm. Could you also use your other hand to help and gently pull down here like this for me, just a bit? Yes. Then repeat the same sequence. After about 30 seconds, you try to open the thumb, but don't let it. Push against it. It loosens again. You go deeper. And again. Do the faster run through with quicker counter pressure, finishing with one final pass. Actively pull the thumb downwards so it provides a nice, clearly active stretch in this area once more, please. You can add this as an extension as well. That way you're working specifically from the thumb, especially because that's something older people often have trouble with.
Grasping. Yeah, that's it.
Exactly, so that the hands stay fully functional.
The next exercise is the one with the stretching strap. With that one, right? Exactly.
With this one?
Yeah. I grab both the same way, hold them steady for extra balance and control, and then I pull the heel up.
Yeah. But look, it's best to slip a knee here or under so the back of your knee and your heel are both comfortably and fully resting and properly supported. Then it's much more clearly defined.
So that you're basically resting on it. And then move far enough onto the knee hero so your heel and your knee are both resting comfortably and supported.
And I'd recommend you take the stretching strap a little bit higher. That gives you noticeably more leverage.
Now I can better resist the pull.
Just make the stretching strap a bit diagonal so the toes get redirected and the little toe doesn't suffer. So then you've got quite a bit more leverage and can pull back with less effort until it starts tugging at your calves. So then the torso comes forward.
Yeah, now I'm stepping forward.
Exactly.
And then when I get back to that point where it's just like that one more time,
then the back of your knee starts to feel it. Then you feel a stretch in the upper calf.
then this continues. I keep it like that for a short while, holding the stretch, and then I slowly and gently try to bring my toes a bit further forward.
Forefoot and toes a bit forward, right? Torso back.
I'm not moving it back at all.
But you want to, right? Brace for about a meter. Really? The foot wants to go forward, the torso wants to go back.
Exactly. Then, when I've done that, I step in a bit further back. You can...
If you'd like to lengthen it further, tuck your lower back in a bit on purpose. The more you fold from the lower back here, the more you should aim to keep the upper back fairly straight, stable, engaged, and supported throughout. If you still want to feel the pull here, then add a forward folding motion.
After that, I usually go into this position.
Yes, great.
So back then I used to push myself up out of the ground every single time, always.
Yeah, better the other way round.
Nowadays, though, I pretty much just let it hang down.
Yeah, try to keep yourself more or less straight. You're a little hunched over. All right, the important thing now, lift up a bit, is you must stick to it. Just stay like that. If you start pushing up from underneath, you'll mainly end up in spinal hyperextension and put extra strain on your lower back. Right, not that much. We want to overextend the hip. Down here, we do as much as possible. Very good. Now try to keep that nice rounded shape throughout the whole movement. And go down, leading with the groin area. I can feel the left side stuck. And your arms are bent. That's making this really hard for you to do. Lock them. Fully straighten them all the way out. Then you won't have to grip so tight anymore. It'll be much easier. Can't you move against it anymore?
Actually, no.
Okay. And now let your left side drop a little more. Above all, you're crooked. And tell me where you feel the pull.
Right now, there's a slight pulling in my thigh.
Left, right, top, bottom? Left. And how high exactly? Groins, more in or a little further down instead?
Further down.
Let yourself hang a bit lower?
Yeah, now it's starting in the groin.
Okay, that's good. That would mean the hip flexors are just about to kick in now and begin contributing to the movement. Is it starting to tuck the back in?
Now it's the back, yeah.
Very good. So at least that far for now, but you're a bit uneven. I don't know why, but if you had a mirror in front of you, you'd probably be able to see it. The left shoulder's a bit awkward too. There's something going on there as well.
Yeah. At the moment. Actually, yes. Right now it's cracking in the joint quite loudly. Are you already doing any shoulder exercises regularly? I was just about to start because I noticed it's getting worse.
Yeah, but look, one thing at a time. I'd almost say, let's head back over to the wall again for another quick check, okay? Sound good? So stay there and push your hips a little further forward, just like that. Go on, a bit more now. Hold it right there. Go on.
You can tell that now, yeah.
Yeah, where do you notice it now?
Now I feel it in my groin.
Left, right, or both? Both. Very nice. Now go with the top one. Lean your torso just a little further back. Very good, nice. You can, if you want, if you can handle it, let your head drop in a moment. Start engaging your back now. Up to how much? 5. Then go ahead and bump it up to 6.
Now just 6?
Just 6 for now. Then go to 7. 7. You could still go to 7.5, but you'll have to judge a bit yourself when it's your first time. 7.5. 7.5. Then you stay. And then, after that half minute, you'd start pushing the wall away with your belly. Push the wall away with your belly, but without moving. Your face shows you were briefly at an 8. Yeah? Be careful. Stay below an 8. Soften, relax, then move a little further inside. And once more, push the wall outward from your belly with your core. Stay relaxed and move further deeper in. Now we'll do the quick part a few more times. Push against it, it's relaxed. Go a bit deeper and keep breathing each time. Okay, and for the active bit, you could do this now. But listen first before you try it, and then decide if you feel up to it. Slowly lift your hands off the wall, and now, using your own core strength, pull yourself gently and steadily back into the arch once more. Don't topple over, keep it nicely balanced. Okay. Then pull and pull and pull and pull and pull, staying steady and controlled, and then you come back out. Okay, that was decidedly different. Shoulder in rotation. First, do it against the wall. We'll get your shoulder fixed. Once it's fine, you can get back, hands and knees on the mat. And then with a shoulder that works better, you can pretty much do that right away.
Yeah, that's actually my usual shoulder.
Then we'd still have the eyes remaining.
The eyes, yeah.
Yeah, can you show it again? Go in and describe what you're doing.
So first I shut my eyes, and then I roll my eyeballs down. And then I put my fingers here.
Yeah. Give me a tip. Look, you've got your arms like that, it's not very defined. Do it so you gently slip your fingers in there, rest your thumb on your cheek and maybe place the pinky, or the middle or ring finger, whichever feels best, somewhere else. Just adjust slightly until it looks natural and comfortable. So you're a bit supported, then you can adjust it much better and find the right position much more easily and confidently.
Now I'm getting to the point.
Okay.
And then I support them like that. Their eyes are looking slightly downwards now.
Exactly, that's phrased correctly now.
So I'll do that too until I notice the muscle has kind of adapted to it over time to a clearly noticeable degree. And then I try to look up with my eyes, but I still don't really let myself do it. I go a bit further down and then repeat that 3 times in succession.
And you'll do the active closing scene too?
I'll do that one too, and I'll also do the eye roll. Once I've got the tension, the last bit of tension behind me, I take my fingers away.
And then I'll try going down first.
Then I'll try to look inside myself.
Exactly.
I haven't done it yet, but if I do, I'll let you know.
You'll let me know.
Okay, then I'll do that for the side glance. I'll close my eyes again, that's more comfortable for me.
Yeah, well, sure. You should always have the eyelid in between anyway. Right,
I've got one hand here.
very good.
Yes, and then I look in that direction. That way I support the eyes again.
Walk over it and keep the joint completely steady. Keeping it perfectly aligned, what's that called? Right in that angle there.
I'm noticing now that the muscle eventually gives out. It starts losing strength.
It's the same sequence. You do that in all 4 directions.
I do that in 4 directions. The bottom one's harder for me.
And to calm down, when you roll your eyes, do you roll them in circles or what?
No, I just glance upward, then downward, then right, then leftwards.
All right, do it how you like. We'll do it together. Close your eyes tight. Do exactly what I say. If you want, direct your gaze to 12 o'clock, then down to 6, up to 1, down to 7, over to 2, down to 8, up to 3, over to 9, up to 4, over to 10, up to 5, over to 11, back down to 6, and finally up to 12 again. Just follow this exact sequence with your eyes, moving slowly and steadily, keeping steady breaths as you go.
Always direct.
And you've also got the angle bisections in there again, so not just the rough 4 directions, but split further.
But also on those.
You basically look around every 24 hours. And do you want anything else for your shoulder?
Definitely.
We need to test that. Pay attention. Make sure your left shoulder is touching the wall. Now stretch your left arm, slide it up the wall, and slowly raise it until you feel something begin to tighten a little.
Now it's starting.
Now it's starting. You're now at about 10 degrees below horizontal, give or take a little bit. Keep your shoulder on it, place your other hand against the wall to gain solid support, and very slowly continue rotating your body further to the right, moving inch by inch to maintain control.
I can feel it goes. From the shoulder into the biceps all the way down to the thumb.
Very good. When you start, I say, go in passively for 2 minutes. Next step would maybe be 1 minute passive, 1 minute tensing, then let go again. And then you're basically in the 4-phase process. That's essentially the procedure to follow, step by step. It might be that after 3 or 4 days, turn out slightly, you suddenly notice, oh, now when I go in, I can already go a bit more horizontal, yeah? And then you do the same. And then, over the next few weeks, you work your way up from minus 10 degrees until you're at a 45-degree angle. And then I'd say the shoulder problem is pretty much solved at this point.
I assume that's all solved by now. It's always been like that.
Any other questions?
No, not really. That was actually...
So thanks so much for being here today, and I'm really happy you're doing so well now.
Yeah, doing great again now. There are other ways. You absolutely don't have to wreck your body with meds to get better. I see that with my older folks too. Okay, they might not be in pain in the moment, but their liver's getting wrecked, their kidneys are getting wrecked. All I can say is you've got to be more open to these methods. You can get it done completely without pain. I can see that.
Yes, I can see it in you too, Michael. Thank you so much for openly sharing your story here in such great detail and being so honest. And thanks again from me for caring for elderly people. I really appreciate what you do, and it truly means a lot to me. That's just something I wanted to say. Yeah, it's a job, but I get the feeling it's a labor of love for you, and that's why I'm really glad that you are so fit, energetic, and pretty spry for your age. Honestly, you seem really great, far more agile than some 60-year-olds. I hope.
Hope it stays that way, yeah.
Exactly, and you do so much for that. So thanks again. Honestly, thank you very much.
I knew it.